Welcome to my session, Bringing Books to Life, Sound Stories for Any Age. My name is Linda Siemens from Floating Down the River. Be sure to download my handout. It will have lots of information as well as my contact information. Sound stories are a fantastic way to bring books to life, to have fun in your music class, to explore literature, and even to make fun performances. There are so many benefits of sound stories. You could go on about musical as well as non-musical benefits. Just a few of them are doing instrument exploration, improving listening skills, taking turns, improvising, working on timbre, working in groups and teamwork, learning about instrument families, just to name a few. I thought I would talk about how to gather instruments right up front. Some of you may not feel like you can do this because you don't have many instruments in your classroom, but you can begin by using lots of voice and body sounds, even if you don't have the instruments. And you can gather the instruments over time. It has taken me years to gather them, and there are many ways to do that. I've gotten my PTO to buy some instruments. I've gotten a district grant. I did Donors Choose grants many times. I did a local instrument grant from a bank, so you might have lots of options from some places locally, and you might even be able to scrape some up if you come up with a good plan for telling people why you need them. There are so many places you can get instruments. West Music has agreed to give us, during this conference, free shipping. So that's a nice way to get instruments. Many of my instruments are from West Music, and I encourage you to get them from there. They do a good job at servicing the music teachers, and I'm pleased with the quality of their instruments. This section is going to be about introducing some instruments. You can let your students explore various instruments so they can get the idea of what they sound like and how to play the different instruments. I work really hard when introducing instruments to discuss taking care of them and treating them gently so that students know that these are precious and we need to take care of them. So one major instrument you may have, obviously, in your classroom for tapping, for scraping, are rhythm sticks. You might have claves in your classroom, makes a nice tapping sound. You might have a slide whistle, and that's something you would have to sterilize and have only one particular student use. You may have wood blocks like this. I've had these for years. Or sand blocks, simple sand blocks. And another kind of wood block. I have these kids' castanets, make a nice clicking sound. And finger cymbals make a nice ding, and also a triangle, which I can't find mine right now. I don't have access to all my instruments. I have simple shakers. You can also make these out of plastic eggs from the store from Easter time and tape those shut with some rice in them. Also, I have a shaker, which I can't find. I don't have access to all my instruments. Scrapers, various Quiros. Here's one that a lot of people have. This can also be something you can hit. I bought in Thailand one year, went to Thailand, and I got some of the frogs scrapers. I have a bunch of different sizes. I did a camping theme one year and told sound stories related to camping and really had fun with my frog scrapers. Those are fun. You can get those at West Music, different sizes of those. And another instrument we all have, you can use just basic. You could use trills, or you can do a squawk. You knew that squawk was good for something. I also have an ocarina. This makes a very, I'm just learning how to play this, so it makes a very ethereal sound. You can use that. And those are some of the instruments you may have around your classroom that are normal instruments. You can use your personal instruments. You can use the ukulele. Even if students don't know how to play, they could pluck strings or strum. I have my own French horn. I'm very rusty because I haven't played in a group in years, but I did, as part of a sound story, I was in a class. I was able to do like a whale sound and an elephant sound. These are some of my really fun and different instruments that I have. Some of you may already own some of these. This is a washboard, and it makes a scraping or a tapping sound. I actually have 12 of these because I do folk music with spoons. I could have brought my spoons as well. This is, there's a wooden stick with this, and I don't know where it is, but a gonqui, African gonqui. Kind of obnoxious, but a fun, different sound. This is a chime, bell chime tree, and there are really fancy ones that have all kinds of chimes on them as well. That makes a very magical sound. This is a vibroslap. You can make longer sound by holding it limply, or a shorter sound. And that's a fun instrument. And this is wood blocks. And this is called a stir xylophone. What a fun sound. Going upstairs, or all kinds of things that could be. This is called a tongue drum, and this is a pentatonic one. I actually have a diatonic one as well. That's a very musical, ethereal sound that's calming, a very calm sound. This is a thunder tube. These are called, I think one is a canary, one's a duck, and one is canary stick. Those are from West Music. This is a fun new instrument called a digiharp. It kind of has an Australian kind of a sound. And it has a little thing inside. Really fun sound. Those are a few of my really fun instruments. You can also do a whole sound story with just found sounds. I just went to my kitchen, and in 30 seconds I found you can tune your glasses with water. This is a chip bag, a pan, and a, what do you call these? Anyway, I can't remember what they're called. Cheese grater. Yes. So your kids could be really creative and find all kinds of found sounds in their homes for your sound stories. I almost forgot to talk about something that a lot of you have in your classrooms, or you might be able to get, tubanos. So you can use lots of sounds that way. I've got probably 30 of these. Djembes, little djembes, big djembes. I can't remember what this is called. I also have a tambourine somewhere. That's a good one. And then, obviously, your xylophones. You can take off the bars. You can have them do this. They can do all kinds. They could even do a particular pattern. And I'll talk a little bit later about the world music drumming classes that I have taken one of that was amazing, where Melissa Bloom added in all kinds of drumming to it. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. So you might want to know how to choose this book for a sound story. Natural sound stories have repetitive sections, like The Goldilocks and the Three Bears has things that repeat over. Three Little Pigs has things that repeat over. The Little Old Lady Who Wasn't Afraid of Anything. Um, I'm going to do Going on a Bear Hunt for you later. And this is the book that I learned about at World Music Drumming in Melissa Bloom's class, I Am Peace. It's a beautiful book. So that's natural, but you don't have to stick to books that have repetitive sections. You can use so many different books. If I started looking at my books recently, and I could find all kinds of books that I could use with my students, and they come up with great ideas for making sounds for the various parts. Next, I want to talk about a procedure for doing a sound story. The first thing you want to do is become familiar with various instruments, like I talked about earlier. Discuss what the sounds could represent with the students, and they will come up with marvelous ideas. They're so creative. You want to read the story to the students to become familiar, and read it again, and ask them to start thinking about sounds that could go with the various words and phrases. Then you can ask the students to give you suggestions. You could even put students in separate groups and have them come up with their own, and every group will be different. Read it again, take suggestions and building ideas for what you plan to use. Let the students really be a part of this. This could end up becoming a full-blown performance for parents. Very easy to do that. You want to set up your instruments in groups and be sure every student gets to take a turn on one that is used over and over. Or if the student only gets to do a sound once, maybe they need to have a couple of instruments. One major thing you want to do with a sound story is to first do the reading and then make the sound. Don't have the sound and the reading come at the same time. You can also extend your stories, like I said, for a full performance by adding scarves and movement, and your students can come up with wonderful movement to go with your sound story. And you can either work on your own or with the art teacher to add a background and illustrations and artwork to go with your sound story. When I took level 1 of my AOSA ORF training, we did a rain book about rain. Maybe I'll have to look that up and put it, I'll make sure it's on the handout, that we used instruments, we used drums, we used scarves, we had drawings. It was just the funnest thing that we all illustrated our own really sound and movement story, and it was great fun. One thing I have to talk about is classroom management. Sound stories can be so fun, but if you don't manage your classroom well, it can become chaos and your instruments can be broken. You should always discuss with the kids how hard you worked to get your instruments, as well as the generous people who donated them and the money that was spent, so that they learn the value and treat them gently. I do this for even the most simple and inexpensive item, so that my students learn how to handle instruments and other items carefully, and we don't have many things broken. Make sure you set firm rules before you begin. Only play when it's your turn. If a student plays out of turn, they have to take a little time out, and they quickly learn that it doesn't pay off to do that. Wait until, again, as I said before, till after you read the words or the story parts to do the music. It's much more, makes just a lot more sense to do it that way, so you can hear the words and the music. Balance their sound. Teach them to balance the sound so that others who are playing can be heard, and one student isn't just playing so loudly that other instruments can't be heard. Teach them to play the instruments appropriately. That's something you do as you introduce the instruments, and they will quickly learn that it's really fun and not chaotic to do sound stories. I wanted to give you just a few books that are ideas for sound stories, and I can put a few more in the handout. One I've done with my kindergartners, this is really a very, very simple sound story, is The Doorbell Rang. I've done this for years. It has the students we use resonator bells. I've made some cookies for tea. We're starving. Share them between yourselves, said Ma. I made plenty. You could come up with some sound for the cookies. That's 6 each. You could have the students even tap sticks for 6 each cookies. You don't have to do exactly what I said. That's just some ideas. No one makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma as the doorbell rang. I've had the students use a resonator bell, and then they match the pitch. Ding dong. They could even use their voice or a xylophone. And it keeps going on. Having students come, they could use different instruments to represent the kids that come into their house and how many cookies are left. You could really have fun with this, and I love this book. And I actually have a link to a free pack I have in my store that also would allow you to use this for a math concept, and I'll put that in the handout. Little Old Lady Who Wasn't Afraid of Anything is a fun book. You could have something for each part of and it's repetitive. The shoes went clomp clomp. That could be a drum or some other thing. 2 shoes go clomp clomp. The pants go wiggle wiggle. You could use a shaker or something for that. That's a really fun book to use for a sound story. This is a book that I won't read the entire thing, but a book of mindfulness that Melissa Bloom introduced I did a sampler for World Music Drumming during COVID that was fantastic. I intend to take her drumming up the sound stories. It's a full week class. I will probably get to that next summer. But she did introduce this book, I Am Peace, and it would be a beautiful one to do with your students because it's very positive. I'm always looking for very positive books. There are times when I worry about what might happen next and what happened before. You could help them think of some sort of a worry sound. The thoughts in my head are like rushing water. I don't have an ocean drum. That's on my list of things to get. That would be nice. I feel like a boat with no anchor. So they're kind of feeling a little sad, being carried away. I give myself a moment. I take a breath. That could be a shaker or something. Then I tell myself it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and steady myself and start to notice the here and the now. So it's getting very positive, a way to deal with those feelings. My thoughts begin to settle. My mind begins to clear. I am peace. That could be that bell tree or the tongue drum, something peaceful. And I won't read the rest of it, but that's a beautiful book that I highly recommend. I will put a link to that book. I wanted to mention about how sound stories really are for any age. Even for preschoolers, you could read them a story, play the sounds for them, or you could give every student rhythm sticks and say, for instance, the book I mentioned, The Doorbell Rang, you could have every student have sticks and tap them for the number of cookies in the book, or use their voice for when the doorbell rings, or they could take turns playing the ding-dong on resonator bells or xylophones. As they get older, they can choose instruments with you, making decisions. Even kindergartners, first graders, the young ones, can do sound stories and make decisions on good instruments to use or take turns. It's really good for them to learn that and to learn teamwork. And as they get older, they can draw illustrations to go with your sound stories and do even more elaborate productions, even fairly young. You can do them. And it's very interesting even for older students to make up their own sound stories. They could even write their own and do major productions involving the art teacher and having scarves, like I mentioned. They can do so many things. So just vary it according to the needs of your kids. And as you get better and more experienced at doing this with the students, and they're used to doing it, they can do a lot. So don't shy away from doing these with your older students too. They love to do it. Okay, I'm going to end by doing a sound story for you with going on a bear hunt. It's going to be a bit awkward because I'm here doing all the sounds and the reading by myself. I'm putting these clips on, so bear with me. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, grass, long wavy grass. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Now the students will have their instruments so it won't be this awkward. I'm just going to use the top of a tubano. Swishy, swashy, swishy, swashy, swishy, swashy, and then we do the sounds. Students could a bunch of them could have drums doing this sound, and some could use their voice sounds as well. We are going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We are not scared. Uh-oh, a river, a deep, cold river. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Splish, splosh, splish, splosh, splish, splosh. You could actually use real water for this, but I'm going to use my stir xylophone. We are going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, mud, big oozy mud. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Squelch, squirch, squelch, squirch, squelch, squirch. And I chose to use my digiharp. Again, you can use whatever sounds you want. And this is a fun one to act out as well. We're going to, on a bear hunt, we're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, a forest, a big dark forest. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Stumble, trip, stumble, trip, stumble, trip. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. And this thing keeps rolling all over the place. Sorry. Uh-oh, a snowstorm. A swirling, whirling snowstorm. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Woo, 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 woo. They could also use their voice for this one, but I thought it would be fun. Use my slide whistle. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, a cave, a narrow, gloomy cave. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. What's that? One shiny wet nose, two big furry ears, two big googly eyes. It's a bear! And then you go through the entire story. Quick, back through the cave. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Back through the snowstorm. Back through the forest. Back through the mud. Back through the river. Back through the grass. Get to our front door. Open the door. Up the stairs. I thought it would be fun to use a xylophone. Oh no, we forgot to shut the door. Back downstairs. Shut the door. Back upstairs. Into the bedroom. Into bed. Under the covers. And this is a good one for this part. We're not going on a bear hunt again. And that's a fun story. And I know that was awkward, but I hope it gave you an idea of how to do a sound story. It's a lot easier when you have the students to work with you. Make sure you download the handout. It will have some of this information and book titles, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.